Alright everybody, welcome back to this Megadeth album review series. We are kicking it back to 2007 this time, looking at the album United Abominations. Really cool artwork there. I've always thought it was pretty neat. Looking Vic Rattlehead's looking kind of wild, like a angel of some sort, or just kind of a crazy looking album cover that is pretty sweet. I really need to see like who the artist was on that, because it's pretty gnarly looking cover. But yes, a big lineup changes here. You know, as last time we had a Chris Poland come back with The System Has Failed. This time he's gone again. We're looking at we got Glenn Drover on guitar, who he's been in some other bands. I know something I mainly know him from is he was on the album House of God from King Diamond and did pretty damn good on there. And he's a hell of a guitar player, as we'll see on here. Which, you know, you kick it right off here with Sleepwalker. And this is a track that I've always really liked off here. This is one of the best tracks right off the bat with this opener, Sleepwalker. And I'll go ahead and say, too, like, this album is one that this is another one of those I've not really come back to as much over the years. But I always kind of felt it kind of like a mid-level album, like decent enough. But you know, we'll see kind of what if I'll say that has changed. We'll roll on here though with Sleepwalker. Again, this track, absolute badass. Always loved this one off there. Always one of my favorites off here. I'm trying to see, it may very well be my favorite off here. I mean, it's tough to say. It's definitely up there, but the riff is just really chuggy, you know. You get Glenn Drover getting to show off with his solo. Really fast player, doing some really cool stuff. I mean, the dude can shred. Like I said, but pretty underrated guitar player. But yeah, this one again is and is one of my favorites. This kind of a concept album. I don't know if I would go as far as to say it's a full blown one, because it's kind of talking about, like, you know, the end of days and all this, kind of what's depicted on the album cover, you know, the final war and all this stuff going on. So there's kind of some moments on this album that kind of delve deeper into that. But anyways, yeah, track number 2, Washington Is Next. This is another one that I've always really liked. And this one, you kind of do get to hear a little bit more of that concept going through. And I really started thinking that concept, too, whenever I opened it up and started reading like a story here and stuff pretty much going on. So, but Washington Is Next, another one that I've always thought was a badass song. It's kind of got some of these like, you know, not, I wouldn't say spoken word parts, but, you know, kind of like the effects of, like, you know, someone on TV, you know, reporting and all this stuff kind of going on, kind of set the atmosphere, but not overbearingly, like, you know, on something like The World Needs a Hero or something like that, right? But this track is awesome. Another really good chuggy riff going on. That's kind of the theme here with a lot of these. They just have these really thick kind of chuggy riffs. The production is just crisp as all get out, man. Really good. But this one's kind of like a busier track. There's like a lot going on, but I think in a good way. It kind of adds to, like, the, you know, the chaos of kind of what's going on in the song and the lyrics and all that. So really cool song. And track number 3 here, this one is another one that is very likely to be, I mean, if it's not my favorite now, it's very likely to be creeping up to that point, because Never Walk Alone, A Call to Arms, wow, I forgot just how damn good this one is. Awesome stuff with this one. Probably one of the hookiest choruses off here. And you just get this badass breakdown where things kind of slow down a minute. You're like, oh, is this thing ending? And then Glenn Drover and Dave just start tearing it up with another solo. One of the best solos on the album. Just absolutely love this one. This is one that I'll definitely be jamming to in the future even more, you know, and it's made me be like, man, you know, as I'm listening to this one again, I'm thinking, man, what are there any others on here that I kind of just forgot about and just how damn good they are? And this one is got to be if not the best off here, one of like that top two, top three spots. Then we go with the title track, which this one is not one of my favorites. United Abominations. It's a little weird, like the structure of it. I think the lyrics are cool and everything, but I just think kind of the like the way the lyrics kind of flow in that in the melody in the chorus. It doesn't quite. It's a little odd, a little awkward. But I don't think it's like a shit song or anything. It's decent enough. But it's definitely one of my least favorites off here, and not one that, you know, I would really say I'd put on over a lot of stuff off here. Then we go with Gears of War, which is this one's badass, right? I mean, you could say maybe it's kind of a little corny, like, well, like the Gears of War kind of chant thing going on with it and everything, but you get like into the song and it's really badass. Another just awesome kind of apocalyptic like lyrics and everything. Love the solo on this one, as it's kind of like the melody within the solo is really good and kind of drives in on you. And this is another really, really good one that I forgot. This is, like I said, this is one of those albums that I forgot a lot of stuff off here. Because it had been so long since I'd come back to this one, and it's just not one that I've ever really revisited all that much. But Gears of War, another just badass song with a badass riff. You can't go wrong with it. Then we go with Blessed Are the Dead. And yet again, we're just rocking along with a solid track. Another one that's got, that follows again with that apocalyptic, military-esque deal going on with the whole concept. And I really dig the chorus of this one. And it's got, and you know, really, I know this kind of flash forwarding a little bit, but this album really is kind of reminds me now of like some of the modern Megadeth stuff. Like now that I'm looking back on this, and I'm like, this kind of is like the direction, even like in some of the songwriting style and stuff that they would kind of take later on, like around Dystopia and, you know, the Sick, Dying, and the Dead and all that. But yeah, I mean, even like Blessed Are the Dead off here is one of those that kind of reminds me of something like that. So it's kind of like a, you know, even though we're kind of going through these in order, it just made me think of some of their future material, actually. Then we go for Play for Blood. This one, man, this is one of the best off here. No doubt in my mind. I've always loved this one. It's got like a good chuggy riff to it. Man, and I love kind of the flow. This one has like another kind of different flow to the lyrics and everything, and as far as like the melodic structure goes. And I absolutely love it. This one will get your head banging, no doubt in my mind. It's just like, it's such a simple riff, but man, the way it's delivered is what it's all about. This one's probably like that's up in that upper echelon of like top 2 or 3 tracks for me, no doubt in my mind. Play for Blood has always been one of my favorites off here, and is a massive, massive highlight and a sleeper song in Megadeth's discography, if you ask me. Kind of like this album is kind of you know, even to me, a little bit of a forgettable record, but now I'm coming back to it, absolutely digging it. Then we go with the remake, so to speak, of a Tout le Monde. You got the lead vocalist from Lacuna Coil, who's they're pretty cool. I've heard some stuff from them. They're pretty good. She's singing with Dave on here. It's kind of cool or whatever, but like, was this really necessary to make? I wouldn't say so. I've always thought it was weird, like a little weird, you know. I don't think it's terrible by any means, but like if I'm gonna listen to the song a Tout le Monde, I'm definitely not gonna choose this version, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I mean, it has its spot in the album. I wouldn't say it's a highlight on the album. It's just like, okay, and you know, and it's nothing against the chick from Lacuna Coil or anything like that. It's just, I'm not, you know, I like the song how it was on Euthanasia, and they're just this kind of decorating it up a little bit, trying to add and spice it. It's like they put a little bit too much in there, you know, for me on it. So it's not one of my favorites by any means off here. Then we go with Americastan. Americastan. I mean, however you're going to say it, right? Americastan, or let's put like Pakistan, right? But this one is one of my least favorites. I like the lyrics a lot. It's really cool and prophetic and all this. And I said prophetic, not pathetic. All right, because again, this is like end times and all this stuff going on in this one. But it just doesn't quite land as much, I think, as as a lot of these other tracks as far as the melody goes and just kind of grabbing you and really nailing in its message. It's just kind of like, all right, this one I get it, and it has a lot more of those kind of, again, not spoken word, but kind of old radio broadcast type thing, military call stuff going on this, where it's like, all right, this kind of does it a little bit too much, maybe a little bit, but it's not a bad song, but it's one of my least favorites for sure off here, like no doubt about it. Then we go with the second last track here, track number 10, You're Dead. This one's a pretty solid one, but not quite as big of a standout as some of the stuff that's kind of come prior to it. But it's solid enough, and I can say the same for the final track here with Burnt Ice. I think it's a solid track, but it's almost like from a Tout Le Monde, the remake, and those last four tracks to me are just kind of like, they kind of fall off a little bit. But You're Dead and Burnt Ice are not bad songs in particular at all. I think they're solid enough. I think maybe they should have been like dispersed a little bit throughout, like in between some other tracks. Maybe they should have closed it out with something like, quite honestly, I think maybe a Tout Le Monde remake maybe would have fit better as an ending, to be honest. That kind of would have been interesting, kind of like an epic closer or whatever to it. But, this album, I definitely, going back on this, I'm going to be jamming this even more so now, because it always just kind of fell in the middle of like, oh, okay, this is like, not a mediocre album, but just like a run-of-the-mill Megadeth album for me. But, going back here, I'm like, damn, this thing's pretty freaking good. And again, it's kind of, retroactively, it's reminding me of their current, songwriting style and even production wise and everything, with stuff off like the past two albums. At the time, like I first heard this, the Sick, the Dying, and the Dead that wasn't out. Dystopia wasn't out, and those two albums really kind of have the same vibe that this one's kind of giving off here, which of course a lot of Megadeth stuff kind of has, especially in the most recent years, has that kind of end times, destruction, military, kind of stuff going on with it, those themes to it. But even just like the way the songs are structured, I think like you could put Sleepwalker off here, it would fit very, very well on like the newest record. So I thought that was kind of interesting, listening back on this one. I'm like, maybe this is kind of where the direction changed a little bit for them, or maybe they really drew a lot of inspiration from this album, kind of looked back at it, we're like, we like what we did there. And maybe they brought a little of that to the table in these most recent couple of records. But anyways, guys, yeah, United Abominations, solid-ass record that I really forgot just how good it was. It's always just been a kind of a basic one for me, but definitely going to be jamming this one some more. Very interesting tracks on here and some sick freaking riffs. Next time, of course, we'll be looking at Endgame. I think that's like 2009, so the last one of the 2000s. And I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on this one, because I've heard some people really hate this album. I've never really heard anybody praise it all that much. I've seen people kind of how I was with it, just like, hey, it is what it is. It's a solid record, whatever. But now I'm kind of up on like I'm not like, oh, amazing album, but it's creeping up a little bit for me as far as like, man, that's actually pretty damn good. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Do you guys like that remake of a Tout Le Monde? Do you not? Again, for me, just give me the original version of the track or whatever, and I'm cool. But, are you guys a fan of this kind of style that they're going with? And let me know, too. Is it just me, or is this kind of sound like a lot of their newer stuff? Because, that's kind of, I really was feeling that this listen. So, Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, comment. Stay tuned for that next album review when we talk about In Game. Thanks so much.